Hey, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Geek Master, where we love all things geek more than Wile E. Coyote would love to have a Roadrunner burger. As usual, I'm your childishly immature host, Cassius Samuels, and today I wanted to rap at y'all about Kylo Ren and why I think the grandson of Anakin Skywalker will go down in history as the best villain to ever come out of the Star Wars universe to date. But before we get into all that, let me just say that this video will contain some major spoilers from the movie, since I will need to reference specific events to make my case. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, stop watching this video right now and get it done, son. But for everybody else that's still here, let's go ahead and get this party started, shall we? So after watching Star Wars The Force Awakens for my third time, one of my most obvious takeaways was that Kylo Ren was set up to be much stronger than Darth Vader, while also having the potential to rival Emperor Palpatine on the basis of raw power level. Don't believe me? Let's look at the facts. At the very beginning of the movie, we get our first look at how powerful Kylo Ren already is, as he is shown freezing a blaster bolt in midair, which was fired at him by Resistance pilot Poe Dameron. If you remember in The Empire Strikes Back, Vader was shown accomplishing a similar feat when he used the palm of his hand to neutralize a blaster bolt that was fired at him by Han Solo in the same fashion. Now, on the surface, these two feats may appear to be similar in levels of power requirement, but if you look deeper, you will see Vader's feat is nowhere near as impressive as Kylo's. For one thing, Kylo wasn't even looking at Poe Dameron when the shot was fired, while Vader, on the other hand, was facing Han Solo and was 100% anticipating his attack. In addition to freezing an incoming blaster bolt in place while his back was facing his attacker, Kylo was able to hold that bolt in place for the remaining time that he stayed in the settlement on Jakku. I know I don't have to point this out to a bunch of smart individuals like yourselves, but that takes an impressive display of force mastery to accomplish, especially with his focus being divided considering everything that was happening during those opening scenes of the movie. Another major example that depicts Kylo's superior mastery of the Force over Vader is shown when Anakin's grandson uses his abilities to interrogate prisoners and read their minds. Again, if you go back to the original trilogy, you remember that Vader was also able to sense the thoughts of others, like in Return of the Jedi, when Luke let his thoughts about Leia being his twin sister betray him during his fight against his father. Kylo's ability, however, was on a whole nother level because he was able to be much more invasive by using his ability to pull specific information from the person's mind that he was interrogating. Yes, Vader could sense the thoughts that Luke had on the surface of his mind, but he was not able to force Luke to reveal anything else of importance using this ability. In fact, if Vader had the power to accomplish what Kylo did, he would have done it in the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, when Princess Leia had been apprehended and refused to give up the location of the Rebel Alliance base. Instead, he had to resort to using torture droids and the destruction of Alderaan using the Death Star to try and get the information from her, and it still didn't work. So again, Kylo shows more mastery of the Force than his grandfather to me, and it's not even debatable at this point. For real, that's why the idea of Rey beating Kylo in lightsaber combat at the end of the movie was so preposterous to me. It was absolutely ludicrous to me, with all the power at his disposal, that he would not use any of it and he would allow himself to be defeated by a novice with no formal training whatsoever. But whatever, evidently, Rey is the most powerful Force sensitive in the history of the galaxy, which is ridiculous nonsense to me, but apparently makes sense to everybody else. Go figure. But anyway, don't even get me started. Back on topic, there were a couple of other minor examples that I could use to illustrate my point further, like Kylo using the Force to freeze Rey in place, or like when Kylo was able to take the gut shot from Chewbacca's crossbow laser rifle thing and still keep fighting, but I don't believe they are really needed in this case. The way I see it, if Kylo is already on a level that can be perceived above Vader, then it appears his potential could be limitless. It is because of this potential that I believe Kylo will end up being the best villain depicted so far in the Star Wars universe. Dude hasn't even completed his dark side training yet, so just let that sink in for a little bit. For real, to be honest, I really think Kylo will be the Sith Lord that Anakin should have been if he didn't get his ass kicked on Mustafar by Obi-Wan. On the other side, I kind of agree with some of the criticisms that Kylo's character has received thus far, only a few of them, like when people were saying he came off a little whiny and infantile with all the temper tantrums he was throwing in The Force Awakens. But in the end, I believe that was just writers trying to illustrate how emotionally unstable he is. And I think that once he has completed his training and gets a greater understanding of himself, he will grow out of that shit. Remember, as a dark side user, the emotions of hate and rage that were fueling his temper tantrums will end up becoming very powerful resources to him once he fully embraces the dark side. I mean, other than that, to me, Kylo Ren has already basically solidified himself in Star Wars history as the one who killed the major iconic character of Han Solo, which is something that Vader never had on his resume as far as I'm concerned, as far as killing iconic characters go. I mean, sure, he's killed lots of people. He killed Count Dooku, and he defeated Obi-Wan the second time around, but who else did he beat of importance? And I mean, you could even argue that Obi-Wan let him win the second time around because he knew he could live on through the Force. I mean, really, he just lifted his lightsaber up and let Darth Vader cut him in half. He didn't even try to fight back, so you could make that argument. But either way it goes, unlike Obi-Wan, Han isn't coming back. And that sense of finality makes the death more impactful to me than Obi-Wan's was. But in the interest of not keeping you guys wrapped up for the rest of the day, that's all I'm just going to leave you with. Those are my thoughts on why Kylo Ren would be the best villain in Star Wars history. And just to be clear, just because I think he would be the best villain in Star Wars history doesn't mean that I think he will have the biggest impact. Those are two different things. Vader was the chosen one, and Kylo is just in the way of galactic democracy. But anyway, what do you guys think? Am I tripping for thinking Kylo is going to be the best Star Wars villain of all time? Or do you agree? Leave a comment down below and let me know how you feel. As always, please drop a like if you found any entertainment value in this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned to the stupid dumb shit that I put out. And if you get a minute, please look me up on Facebook at The Geek Master. That's all I got for you Padawans today, and I will holler at you beautiful, nerdy people later. Peace.